Graham G. Matthews here with BleacherReport.com, live in Springfield for WWE's live event here. We're a week out from Clash of the Castle with the number one contender to the Undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Mr. Drew McIntyre. Drew, what's going on, man?
Ooh, lots is going on, including I can't believe it's 7 days now to Clash of the Castle. That's
From the
wild.
show that you manifested.
Well, I mean, it's a team effort, but it is wild that I did talk about it for so long, and it's actually happening where I'd just be happy to be on the show, but to be main eventing against Roman, and the run he's on right now in the UK is just unbelievable. And it's exciting to be back here also, and I'm not feeling so fresh. I might have got beaten to death with some chairs last night, but nonetheless, I'm excited to be here for everybody.
Yeah, full disclosure.
Is Roman here too?
No, he's not. So he doesn't work the majority of the house shows.
Oh, that's right.
We can expect you to work that at the live events, right? Once you become champion next week?
Heck yeah, the titles are going to be on the live events, they'll be on Raw, they'll be on SmackDown, they'll be on the media appearances, whatever Drew McIntyre is, which is everywhere, those titles will be with me, where they should be.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's been your whole journey from the get-go, is getting those championships back in the possession of someone that's on the roster currently. Not that Roman wasn't when he won those championships 2 years ago, but quite a lot has changed since you became the number one contender, started your journey back to the titles. It all kind of feels like it starts with that, the live events and building connections with the audience and stuff like that. And having been here for so long, on and off since 2009, at least on the main roster, talk a little bit about the connection with the audience and how it's generated and only gone up through these house shows and how people can kind of get to know you more through these events.
Yeah, I mean, I love our live events. I think William Regal actually first told me when I was asking him, how do you get over? How do you get people to know who you are and get those reactions and build those connections with our WWE Universe, with the fans? And he told me, grassroots, Drew, every show you do, you go out there and you give it 110% every single time, and then they'll remember. Then the next time you come around, you do the same thing again, and just reps. Every time you come around, they'll remember you, they tell a friend, and that's how you really make that connection. And it's now for me, since that conversation, been almost 15 years of traveling around, getting those reps in, and in the weekend shows without the cameras there, we have an opportunity to try things out. You don't want to try on TV for the first time in case they don't work. To see, I've got this idea. Let's try it on the weekend shows. See, if it works. If it doesn't, we have a laugh about it. The crowd have a laugh with us, and they see us having fun, so they have fun, with us. But we say afterwards, we're not going to do that on TV. And that's for more established superstars. For our younger talent, these shows are so essential to get the reps in, to learn their craft. So eventually, we can rely on them to perform in the big matches that require time. But for me, the biggest thing is just how fun these weekend shows are. You lose those cameras. You're not playing to the millions of people at home. You're playing to everybody in the crowd. Whatever they give us, we give it right back, and you can feel the difference. So the intimate atmosphere as well. These are my favorite shows to do for sure. Yeah, no, it's cool too, especially seeing how much they've evolved in the last 13 years. I went to my first house show, I think in 2009. I was a freshman in high school at that point, and you were on some of those shows. So seeing you now in the position you are is crazy. Not to make you feel old. I mean, you're not that much older than I am, but it's wild. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more. Conversations I have and comments I hear where I'm like, man, I'm getting old. It's okay because Sheamus is so much older.
You would never know it though. Same with you.
Yeah, he's like Benjamin Button. He's aging back. We're gonna wear him and Lashley and R-Truth and Rey Mysterio found the fountain of youth and they're swimming around. And he'd tell me where's that.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned Truth. He was one of those guys that you came up working with when you first arrived on the main roster. And as a lot of people know, the people that we see you working with on TV, more often than not, you're kind of already working with and having 10 other matches with on these live events, on the weekends, during the weeks, whatever. Was it like the matches with Truth? I know Finlay was someone else you worked with at that point. Were those the people instrumental in helping you kind of get, adjusted and finding your footing on the main roster at that point?
Yeah, those two in particular. Matt Hardy I'd put in there as well. Finlay had the fun task of toning me down. I was in Florida Championship Wrestling. It's where I developed my aggressive style. Dr. Tom and Steve Kern in particular saw that aggressive side of me, really amped it up to about a 12, where I was going out and messing people up pretty bad in a way that it's just not possible to go 52 weeks a year and hitting people as hard as I was hitting them. So it is a lot easier to dial somebody down than it is to dial them up. So Finlay's job was find a middle ground for myself, and every night I was out there with him on these live events, learning and having fun. He would mess with me as well. He was my mentor, and in the ring he's just such a wizard. There were times where I was trying to learn how to pull my punches on a ground and pound where I wouldn't knock him out, and he could knock out Finlay, knock anyone else but Finlay out.
Yeah.
Where I'd be like hitting so hard, and I kept trying to pull it more and more and more, and I kept connecting every time, and I couldn't figure out why I kept hitting him. And I was like, I know it. Like tonight, my punch was like 4 inches away from his head.
Yeah.
And eventually down the line, he revealed to me, like, no matter how much I was pulling it, he was headbutting my hand. So I could never get. I was like, I'm sorry, I keep catching you. But it was him headbutting my hand. There'd be times where he'd put me in the ropes and get the referee in there, and I'd be like, turn him up, I'd get him off, referee. It's a heel. And I'd turn back, and the referee would have my leg, and Finlay would be the other side of the ring, just laughing. And he was such a veteran, and that's like how he got me to relax in the ring. It's just kind of like, hey kid, it's okay, we can have fun out here. Stuff being so tense all the time, and that's the fun of getting a veteran with one of our younger talents and teaching them. You don't have to be stressed out all the time. This isn't TV. This is where you learn to relax. And then on TV, it's really cool if you relax on TV. And you enjoy yourself, the fans feel you're relaxed. You're not so much with that deer in the headlights look, you're in the moment, you're present, you're at one with the crowd, and that's where that connection's formed. And these live events are essential to finding yourself on television.
Going off what you just said, when did you feel like you learned that lesson as far as becoming more comfortable on TV? And I feel like the, embracing the fan favoritism, whatever, in the last couple of years during COVID, and the weird thing with that was that there was no fans at that point. So it kind of felt like the Raw and SmackDown shows that you guys were on, at least for you, kind of felt like that, house show period, or stuff where you would try out stuff on the house shows, you were doing it on TV. And all of it worked, like at WrestleMania when you were talking to the camera more and stuff like that. Did you kind of see those Thunderdome shows as kind of like it was airing on live television on USA Network, but it kind of felt like a house show in a way where you got to try stuff out, whether it worked or didn't.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it, because there's nothing like that has ever happened before.
Yeah.
Except when I wrestled in the UK and nobody turned up to the show. So I just wrestled in front of nobody. But
it worked out well, so it's fine.
Yeah, it was very bizarre, but I was champion at the time, and I saw it as my responsibility to kind of lead by example. It all rolls downhill, just to throw things against the wall and see what would stick.
Yeah.
And to have fun the best way I could, especially when people are sitting at home in a scary time for the world, and we're unsure what the future is going to be. So the tune at WWE is like, hey, these guys are having fun. There's an escape for everyone around the world. So if I was out there and I was talking down the camera, and my wife dares me to say, hey, you cool cats and kittens, because Tiger King was big at the time.
Yeah, massive, yeah.
People see the GIF and go, what's going on in the wrestling? They tune in
to
our show, or I start messing with the commentators because that's the only people who were ringside at the time, or shake the cameraman around.
Bailey did that a lot too.
So many people at the time that really, found themselves, found their characters, and just had fun. And we mentioned Bailey, like Sasha. Remember Sonya, who really got comfortable in the mic. Like a lot of people, really found themselves, and that's what I kind of saw it as. I was like, hey, we have a unique opportunity to add layers to our characters here. We're almost like on a stage show. It's completely silent out here, and if you know your character, you can add layers, and if you don't know, maybe you can find your character, because you're not going to have that nervousness of the crowd around you. You're not going to feel the need to shout and start playing to the other seconds because they're not there. So you have this opportunity to find yourself and find that character, and I really got comfortable with myself at the time, and the character isn't really a character, it's just me. That was a funny thing after getting told forever, the best character is an extension of your real personality, and it took me nearly 20 years to finally just go out and be Drew.
That was when it clicked for you at that point?
Yeah, and it's weird. Like I got fired from WWE, and I had to go out and have my journey, and that's where I really discovered myself, got comfortable, and started really being the real Drew, and the independence and TNA, etc. I came back to NXT, it was very similar, and yet when I returned to Raw, and I was a bad guy again, I'd generally been a good guy outside the company, I started talking about feasting on carcasses and eviscerating the competition, and nobody talks like that. And
I was going to say, well, I don't know if it was you talking like that specifically, but you're making the most of it, though.
But yeah, and then people reacted, and I was a viable, threat to guys like Roman, with the baby faces, the good guys at the time. Some of them big, hairy, angry Scottish guy. It was very aggressive, but no one can relate to that. They can just go, that's a big threat. I mean, there's the one guy in Scotland who's big, hairy, and angry. Like, I get that guy, and I get him, but I need to relate to everybody if I want to really get over. And it's interesting that I never imagined I'd be a good guy in WWE, so, big foreigner. Yeah. And eventually I got the opportunity one time. I believe Paul Heyman was in charge of Raw at the time, where he knew what I was capable of. His protege, Gabe Sapolsky, ran Evolve, where I worked a lot, so he knew the real Drew. And we needed a replacement for, I believe, a cage match with a Fiend and a dark match. And he told me, go out there, buy time on the microphone. Knew what he was doing, because the right people would be watching. I went out there. I was just the real Drew, and I started chatting, having a laugh, messing with some of the guys in the crowd, talking about their girls, looking at me and whatever. You could see people turning around, going, "No, this is interesting." And the right people saw that and said, "Just let Drew keep doing that." So they'd give me short matches, but a little promo prior, and just say, just inject your personality in there. And I'd go out there, I'd have a laugh, I'd tell dad jokes because that's the real Drew.
Yeah, yeah,
Might not
yeah.
be funny. I'm not afraid to fall flat in my face. And everyone
Yeah.
knows when the bell rings, I'm going to kick butt. And I started getting over, and I started doing the countdown thing, which I tried in Independence, and it worked on a small scale. And I was like, I'll give it a bash, see if it works. And I didn't try on TV the first time, of course. I tried it on the live events.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you guys got fans back was when we started to see it during the Jinder Mahal feud, right? Going into
it was more like the lead to Rumble. We still had the fans when that's...
in 2020, okay.
Yeah, that's when I really started getting steamrolling towards WrestleMania. It was around January when I started getting those matches, showing the real Drew, and the reaction just started picking up, and it got to the point where people were like, you're getting the loudest reaction for these live events. This is crazy. Yeah. I'm like, it is crazy because I'm just being myself. And, we'll see where it goes. And we eventually come to Rumble, where I was just hoping for something, one interesting moment. I'd heard like rumblings, maybe there's something with Brock, and I was like, man, that'd be so cool. Yeah. Like, I'd trained my time outside in Independence to be able to stand in front of Brock Lesnar and look like a legitimate threat. Like, I looked myself in the mirror one day and I said, if you stand in front of Brock Lesnar, I wouldn't believe you could fight him and beat him up. You got to try and get him the right size, and Paul Heyman's the best on the mic. You got to be better on the mic. And I worked so hard outside the company.
When was this exactly? Like, when you looked in the mirror and had that like revelation?
It was probably my first year in Independence, like 14, 15, where I looked at myself and said, "You're a big guy in Independence. Brock Lesnar's the biggest drawing attraction in the world. If you stood in front of him, I don't believe you can beat him." Paul Heyman starts talking. You can't compete with him. You got to get better, get those reps in. And by that point, I was feeling, I knew who I was. I felt like I could step in front of him, look legitimate. I felt like, Heyman on the mic, we'd have a good back and forth. So I was hoping for something with Brock in that Rumble. And then the way it worked out, one of the best Rumbles ever. Brock was so dominant as champion, eliminated half the Rumble. I came out and I could feel people rise up to their feet like Drew's going to do it. And I'd had that little run prior, but there was no real reason to expect Drew McIntyre to eliminate Brock Lesnar. Yeah. But I did.
That's what made it so special.
Yeah, like with a little Ricochet assist, eliminated Brock. The reaction was unbelievable. We go right through the Rumble. We get to the finish. Edge returns after 9 years. Yeah. I'm thinking, oh no.
Yeah. They're going to turn on you. Yeah.
We've seen this happen in the past. Yeah. And,
well, it worked out perfectly, though, because he got thrown up by Randy or something. It's not like you threw him out.
I believe it was Roman right before.
Roman, okay,
Roman.
Or he threw out Randy.
But nonetheless, like, we've seen people turn on the Rumble.
You know that,
And especially Edge was never going to come back. Big dramatic return. Same reaction. And I was lying in the corner just deliberately so I could listen to their reaction because I knew he was coming. I think I grabbed AJ's foot and put it in my own throat just so I could listen and just appreciate the moment. Yeah. But yeah, and then after he got eliminated, Roman and I got to it, gave him the Claymore, put him out, and heard the same reaction as I got for eliminating Brock. And, like, felt, oh my goodness, the people are really, behind me right now. This is so cool. And I think that's the first time I said, like, man, the chosen one didn't work out. Being the corporate chosen one, but it's pretty cool feeling like the people's chosen one. Yeah. After all this work and
the full circle.
Yeah, the momentum was just rolling and rolling to Mania, and then boom.
Go with it.
Where did everyone go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So. And here we are now. I mean, it's funny because not a lot of people get to have that moment. Like, I feel like this is it, pull the trigger, become champion, whatever. And you've had multiple of those moments, specifically WrestleMania 36 when you became champion. You won it back on Raw, again, in front of no fans. And now you want to win it not only in front of fans again, but you want to win it in front of...
First time nobody there. The second time we had the virtual people. And
okay, there were fans
my
there.
My cat Chaz was in the middle screen. So
who was in the middle screen?
My cat Chaz.
Oh, your cat Chaz, really?
Holding up my cat.
Is that like is he like? Can you see him if you watch it back or not?
You can, yeah. If you watch back when I beat Randy, you look at the screen after the 3 count, you'll see my wife holding up my cat.
That is
Chaz,
so
big
funny.
Black cat right in the middle of the screen.
Did she have to do like the standard like application to get in, or did you know, obviously someone? How did that work?
She knows somebody. So.
Okay, I was gonna say you didn't have to go through the whole process of whatever of getting into the Thunderdome.
Yeah, it was a little harder because I wasn't quite the champ yet, but she was the former champ.
Exactly. Well, again, like I said, so you have these multiple moments going into a show next Saturday like Clash. How does the feeling you have right now, maybe not like the day of Mania 36, because again, at that point, COVID already happened, and you won the championship and whatever, but maybe coming out of the Rumble, like, all right, I'm ready now. How does that feeling compare to the feeling you have right now going into this match next Saturday at Clash? Is it different? Is it the exact same feeling, like, I know I'm going to win this, I know I'm ready for it, or, like, is it different because you're a couple of years older and more experienced?
Yeah, it's different because I'm a couple of years older, more experienced. I have been champion and had the significant responsibility of being at the top of the card. Like Roman talks about the levels thing, it is a real thing. Like when you're at the upper echelon, like your life is 24/7 WWE, and I've had that for a few years now where, if I get a day off, that's a rarity, and generally I'll spend it talking about WWE, but this is what I wanted to do. It's not a job, I'm talking about me, I'm talking about WWE. I feel so fortunate, but this time around, I'm relaxed, I'm confident, I'm just blown away that there's something I dreamed of is actually happening. And it's so cool that it's happening with, Roman, aside the run he's on right now. He's always been my biggest foe, my kryptonite.
He's had a WrestleMania match a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we've had so many significant matches, so many significant moments.
Yeah.
He's always come out on top, and it's interesting all the times we fought in the past aside Survivor Series, the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
It took reversing the roles completely to find our true selves. And as far, as I've come as Drew McIntyre, he's hit this other level as a tribal chief, and the story, leading up to now, and avoiding each other the whole time I've been on SmackDown, essentially, except a couple of moments here and there.
I don't think you've lost a single TV match. Have you, like, one-on-one, or?
No. On the SmackDown time, and it works out perfect for the story of Roman trying to avoid this version of Drew McIntyre because he learned at Survivor Series 2020 how dangerous I am, and it's came to this moment, and, the story now I've let him know, by yourself, you can beat every man on earth except one. And now that he's taken one step back, in his life and career, it's allowed me to take 2 steps forward, and that's why I'm the man that's going to take him down.
Yeah, exactly. It works out perfectly. We're celebrating 2 years of him as champion next week, and it's funny too because you go back and you look at some of the matches he had with Brock a couple of years ago. Him complaining about Brock not being around all the time as champion. We're kind of in the same situation now with Roman, and he's obviously well deserved. He's been around for a long time, had this historic reign. Are you of the position where those sort of people, Roman, people coming in like Cena, who I know you've lobbied for a match with over the years, people like that, Brock, add to the product? Because I feel like among fans there's like cynicism, the whole part-timer label. But I'm personally someone that feels like it helps the product if they're done in a way, they're on the show in a way, used in a way, whatever, where in working with people such as yourself, it can really add a lot to the show. I mean, there's a lot to that, but just I want to get your general thoughts.
Oh, 100%. They're huge stars. It's as simple as that. They draw eyeballs. And the Roman thing, I would never harp on him in a way where I say, "Oh, screw him," like it is part-time deal.
For sure,
it wasn't forced in his lap, and he's at a different place in his life, and I'm sure he regrets saying some of the things he said in the past, like where he's at now. And
I think Cena said the same thing with The Rock.
But you say those things in the moment, and I would never say to anybody, "Oh my goodness, how dare you do that?" But I kind of have my feelings about how the title should be represented, and we need people like Roman on the show. He's our biggest star by far. The numbers and everything he talks about, those are all real. But I do believe the title should be featured in every event. I do believe that Drew McIntyre is the man to do that. But I want to hear Roman here as long as he possibly can be here. I want Cena whenever he can be here. I want The Rock whenever he can be here. But that's guys that put their time in. Those are legitimate big names within our industry. I'm fine with even the celebrities coming in because they draw outside eyeballs, and that's what it's all about.
And they deliver
those
too.
Outside eyeballs in, yeah, exactly. Like a Bad Bunny, a Logan Paul, Johnny Knoxville, McAfee. Obviously, he's one of the regulars now. He's awesome. But they all deliver, but they bring these outside eyeballs, and in turn they see our other superstars, and they connect with somebody, then they keep watching the show, and that's what I'm all about. I'm all about big picture, and some people in the past are very narrow-minded, just thought about, these people here and these fans are watching right now, and I'm like, yes, we have them, we want to give them the best product possible, but we have to think big picture. Who's not watching? We need the eyeballs all turned in this direction to see all of our amazing superstars, and the more the merrier, they bring the eyeballs. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, you talk about becoming champion as well, and just being the champion, and just bringing more eyes to the product. And fans are going to want to see you win the championship. With that being said, what has changed between even now, not even 2 years ago, but 6 months ago? Because coming off the video packages that we saw on SmackDown specifically, I don't know if anyone can watch SmackDown and say to themselves, I don't want that guy to win the championship. I don't know if that was the exact same situation 4 or 5 months ago. Obviously, you weren't being booed at all, but I feel like the vocal minority, so to speak, the internet community, if you can even call it that, I feel like you've turned them in your favor with, there's a variety of factors, but I just want to get your perspective on how you feel you've accomplished that.
There's been times, to be honest, where I'm I can't believe that people are still so strongly behind me. As a good guy in today's day and age, it's so hard to keep people's attention for more than a second, and generally they'll quickly switch to someone else, or they'll let you know they're not digging you right now, it's time to do something different. And I've felt wow, I can't believe they're still behind me, and even certain things that I didn't always agree with. Did the best job I could if it was presented with me, and the sword was probably featured more than the man a lot of times, and I was of the mindset we probably should develop the character more, develop the man behind the character.
That's why we haven't seen the sword as much lately?
Yeah, I love the sword. I think it's a great visual, and for casual people.
No, I think that's smart, though.
People like outside eyeballs. I know some of the internet people.
Yeah.
And the likes don't love it, and I agree. There's no payoff. I can't stab someone. I guess I want to. I want to Hollywood it up, be able to stab someone. But realistically,
was that ever in the talks? Did you want not obviously stab someone, but like, were you ever going to do more than just stab the ropes, or no? Like on your end, did you pitch anything that got turned down?
I did, absolutely. I wanted to do like Saving Private Ryan style and get some actors with like missing limbs and
that would be sick.
Hollywood it up and doing posts, but it was shot down very quick.
Oh, come on,
but I think that was like an issue for character development for a while. That the sword took the front and center.
Yeah.
And the kids love it. People on the outside tune in and go, "My God, this giant Scotsman with a sword! This is awesome!" And it's very theatrical for the entrance. I love it in that way. But I like now, and I think a big benefit, as you mentioned, is taking the sword outside the entrance, developing the man, reminding them who I am, and WWE do it better than anybody putting those packages together. I just sat down, I told my story, they dressed it up with all the clips to show, wow, Drew's been on for a long time. Oh my goodness, when he says he loved it his whole life, look at him as a kid, look at him back at wrestling, look at his first matches, look at him with Stone Cold merch, etc. He's telling the truth, and that's someone I can relate to. Like the giant Scotsman swinging the sword around, like, people forget. Like, why am I connected to this guy? What's his character? Like, God, there it is, right there. This is the guy who's always wanted. He's worked for his whole life. He never gives up. He doesn't take crap from anybody. That's who Drew is. Now we know the character. He's not just Swordman. What is he beyond that? And I think I've explained it, but it's been a while when people get short-term memories. That's right. Now we know who Drew is.
Awesome, and we're going to be rooting for you come Saturday, Clash of the Castle. You, Roman Reigns, for the Undisputed WWE Universal Championship, and hopefully come out of your native United Kingdom as the new champion. We're all looking forward to it, Drew.
Thank you. I'm excited for it. I love kind of like teaching geography as well at the time. Like, people are like, so you're from there? Like, well, Wales is a separate country.
Yeah.
I'm from Scotland, which is a separate country.
It's very different,
but Great Britain, is all the countries together.
Of course.
Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, Wales. We're all Great Britain.
Exactly.
So, yes, I'm from the UK, the first UK champion. So everyone's learning geography right now. So you're welcome, America.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Awesome.